Oh boy. We ran it, man. Got with my buddy Dom. Of course, Dom and Daver, Billick. We even had him on the stream just now. We went through Vercingetorix. We went through the mechanics. We went through all the different pairings. We did 5v5 testing through the roof, went nuts with it. There are certain things Dom and I like to look for, certain aspects. So we think we got a pretty good idea. We got a pretty good idea of how to run Vercingetorix, who to run him with, which might surprise you a little bit, what troop types are best with him, because he's a weird commander. He's a shielding commander, kind of does some enhancements, not really a damage dealer, but he works really good in some different ways. So we went through it all, and we're going to tell you and actually give you some definitive, set your mind at ease. It's going to work out. Everything's going to be okay. You're not going to have to go max this guy. However, we know how he applies, and we'll talk about it right now. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chadsky. I do videos for Rise of Kingdoms all the time. And if you enjoy these videos, throw a thumbs up on it, give it a like. And if you have not subscribed, consider doing so. You can hit that subscribe button and join the legions of people who are growing this community as we continue on our push towards 100,000 subscribers. In addition to that, we are in the middle of our video giveaways for the month of July and August, celebrating all the fighting we're going to have. We are going to bring back the video giveaways. All you have to do to enter to win is put a comment down in the comment section. And I will pick a random winner to give a $10 flux to in the next video. So from our previous video that was about Pelagius, the legendary Pelagius commander conversion, hey, yo, this is the comment we got from Lunar. In my opinion, Pelagius is an amazing ad for KVK1. Plus one day of trying to make Chadsky change the button from 71,000 to 83,000 on the subscriber list. Hey, yo, Lunar, you got it. $10 flux for you, buddy. I will make sure and get you all squared away. And if you want to enter to win every single video, all you got to do is put down a comment in the comment section. I love getting down there. I love interacting with you guys. So congratulations to Lunar, and I look forward to giving away another one in our next video that will come from a random comment in this video. So get to it, fam. You're looking at clips from our live stream that we did. Me and Daver went and cooked this thing for 2 different arcs. We probably did 3 dozen 5v5 fights, tried all kinds of different things with Vercingetorix as he's now come out into the game, and even had Billick step in as he rated our stream, and he gave some ideas on some mechanics and confirmed a few things with his second skill. Dom's confirming a few things with Vercingetorix's fourth skill, and we think we got some pretty good ideas. So first and foremost, all right, let me pull this down. Here's our boy Verci, okay? I'm not going to go too into detail. He puts up a shield, and he does a little bit of buffing with this attack bonus that he does for 5 seconds to up to 4 nearby allied or friendly troops. And he also does a march speed mitigation. Now, in a 5v5 where you're slugging it out, you don't see the benefit of that 5 enemy troop 40% march speed mitigation for 3 seconds. You don't see that, but we really didn't care. We just wanted to test out everything else. Now, we did get confirmed from Billick, and he's going to have a video about this as well, okay? He did confirm, all right, that when you cause the enemy troop to lose 100 rage, now this can be from this second skill by itself. It can be from the talents of Smite, right? You have some situations to where you mitigate rage from the troops. It can be done with Silent Trial, which is one of the epic accessories. There's multiple different ways, but it appears that every single way, where's our Silent Trial? Here it is, to where it takes away 10 rage. It appears that every single way that you can mitigate rage feeds into this 100 rage stack. And when I say stack, it's going to give you a 5% bonus or more direct damage, combo damage, or smite damage for 5 seconds. Okay, and that resets and it can stack up to 4 times. So that's one of the things we kind of found out. Billick kind of confirmed that. He's going to have a great video on that. Also, you got his third skill, which either does multiple troop types in the same march. You're going to deal more damage. Only one troop type, you're going to take less damage, which is really, really good. And then the fourth skill, and this is something we're going to confirm, is we actually ran him with William Wallace just on the shields and how much you can enhance this and increase this, and it works out, okay? Then his last skill, which is his expertise, obviously, we ran him mainly as a secondary. We ran him a little bit as a primary, and he does a really good amplification when it comes to the active skill of the primary commander. Okay, has to be considered that with Achilles and Achilles firing off his Palean Spear again, that does not work on any kind of proc of Achilles, and it does not work on any kind of proc of Joan firing off her active skill again. It just works on the 100 rage or the rage requirement active skill. That's where the 40% enhancement comes into play. So we found that out, and we went through a few other things here. So Verci's an interesting cat, guys. Ideally, when you run this guy, you can look at him and say, hey, this appears to be something that Arthur really, really needs. More tankiness. How does this thing work? Okay. And so that was like the first thing we went and tested. So here's how we tested this. Okay. Dom and I ran the exact same thing. All right. And we basically ran these 5 marches. All right. We ran Chen with Zhuge. We did not run Alp Arslan. Way too many RNGs with Alp Arslan and the debuffing and buffing and all that fun stuff. We ran it with Sun Tzu Wallace, BQ Luce, Gang Gang, and Achilles, or Achilles Gang Gang, however you want to do that. But we ran it the same way. And then I ran Arthur with Hector, okay? He ran the exact same thing Dom did, and then Dom ran it with Arthur and Verci. And what happened was that where's this at? The Arthur and Verci, because you can see how I ran Arthur and Hector, he killed all of my marches. And when it was all said and done, let me start over. He didn't have any remaining. I killed that one. I killed that one. I killed that one. And then here at the end, he had 37,000 remaining on the Verci. So on the 5v5 with the same setup, okay? Follow along here. With the same setup on the 5v5, he had Arthur and Verci, and 3 times in a row, he outlasted and won with Arthur Verci. Okay, so the initial thought was, hey, that's an upgrade from Hector. Not a huge upgrade because he didn't win by much, but it is an upgrade from Hector if you want to run Arthur with Vercingetorix, okay? And so I think that's an easy thing to say. All right, if you are running Arthur with Hector, Verci can be an upgrade, but how much of an upgrade do you really want? Because when we ran Arthur with Philip, it's a little hard because in a 5v5 slug it out like we were doing here, we're running a 5v5 slug it out. Philip is going to excel, all right, because that's a slug it up type deal. Philip is doing his RNG with his extra procs from his expertise. The Arthur Philip is really giving a lot of damage mitigation, all that stuff, okay? That was actually doing better than the Verci, okay? But I think for the context of in-game fighting at KVK, you're seeing that Vercingetorix, if you're already running Arthur with Philip or Arthur with Hector, you don't necessarily have to worry about this guy. You don't have to go max this guy, okay? He's definitely going to provide something new and beneficial for Arthur and help Arthur stay alive in the field longer. But if you're already running Philip or already running Hector, all right, then you don't have to worry about this guy. Just wait for the next Cavs to come out. That's the main takeaway on the Cav side, okay? On the infantry side of things, this is where things got really, really interesting, okay? On the infantry side of this thing, you're going to see on here where we run this thing, and all we changed on this, and let me show you, was that Dom was running, all right? He was running the same thing I was running. However, he changed up, and he ran Sun Tzu with Wallace, or Sun Tzu with BQ, and then Luce with Verci. Now, that was the second march we wanted to try, the Luce with Verci. And he got smoked every time by my lineup here, okay? So the Sun Tzu with BQ, and then the Luce with Vercingetorix did not do near as well, okay? And I think part of that has to do with the fact that Luce he's much better in back and forth fighting, not really a slug it out commander. Okay, good amplifier, obviously, and from Vercingetorix to be able to amplify that 5 target AoE. But so much of what Luce does, and by conventional wisdom, you look at the fact that he does more basic attacks from his combo on his expertise, and you ramp up more chances on some of these procs here, and more chances on this proc. Okay, and some of the different things that he does. And so from that standpoint, it did not work out. For whatever reason, did not work out. And the lineup that I had that just had Hector and did not have Vercingetorix, it dominated. And the only change there was that Dom ran Sun Tzu with BQ and Luce with Verci. Okay, so Luce's out, all right? The thought there, that would work. It turns out you just need more damage and different things. Well, we ran it with Sun Tzu and Verci. Okay, and this is where everybody's got to understand something, all right? You can't fall into the trap of putting Vercingetorix behind Sun Tzu, all right? Anything behind Sun Tzu is going to do well. And it's the same thing. People are running Evar with Sun Tzu, like especially big players that have really good gear and stuff, and they've got Evar expertise. I don't even have them on this account. I've got them on my second account, and I've tested the Sun Tzu with Evar on my infantry account, and it does okay. It doesn't do anything crazy, but even when people are running a rally commander with 2 skills and a small expertise behind Sun Tzu, it's doing really good. Guys, anything behind Sun Tzu is going to do really good. All right, CJ behind Sun Tzu is going to do really good. Okay, and so from that standpoint, don't fall into the trap of running Verci behind Sun Tzu. And let me explain, guys. Number one, Verci tends to do better and use his expertise as a secondary commander when he has a big AoE damage dealer in front of him. Okay, and that includes, like we said, Luce, but more importantly, it includes commanders like BQ, hey yo. It includes Arthur, big time AoE damage. And when you do it on Sun Tzu, you're just enhancing a 3,000 damage factor to the target. That's a 3,000 damage factor to the target on a single target. That's it. That's all you're enhancing. So that's the first thing that you think about and say, okay, well, there's a little bit of dysfunction there because you would traditionally want to put Verci in an expertise role as a secondary commander to give a bonus of 40% damage to the active skill of the primary. You want to do that on a big AoE active skill. So that's the first problem. The second problem, and the biggest problem, guys, is that Sun Tzu wants to be with a smite commander. The more times you can fire off the military sage, the better. Okay, you do not want to put a commander that does not do smite behind Sun Tzu. You need to put a smite commander behind him because it's not just about the damage of the AoE that he does with the fixed true damage. It's about the fact that he gains so much freaking rage by hitting targets from his AoE true damage. All right, that's why BQ is fantastic with him, especially when BQ runs up the malice stacks. That's why William Wallace is really good with Sun Tzu, especially when William Wallace does the smite damage factor that he does in a big way. Okay, and so doesn't William Wallace also have another smite proc here somewhere? No. Okay, but that's what you want to do when it comes to Sun Tzu. You want to put him with the smite damage dealer behind him. Luce, great. Okay, BQ, great. Wallace, great. Verci, and in some of the testing, it would appear like, hey, this is really good, but it's not. I mean, trust me, in the field, it's not going to do as well for you, okay? You don't want to put Verci with him. And we saw the same thing in the testing that we did where my lineup beat the exact same lineup, except it was Sun Tzu with Verci and BQ and Luce. It beat it every time. The Arthur Hector beat it every time. No problem. And so from there, we kind of debunked that from any kind of situation. I swear, man, we just don't need players investing into Verci to put behind Sun Tzu. Do not do that, guys. Don't do that. Now it comes to the other part of the infantry side of things that really is compelling. When we did the same setup and the same test, okay, and I'll go through and I'll make sure that everybody understands this. When we did the same setup and same test, and we ran Sun Tzu with Luce and then put Verci behind BQ, it whipped everything. Like the BQ with Verci is the play. If you're running infantry, all right, and you want to use Verci, if you're running 3 infantry marches, who do you put Verci with? You put him with BQ. It works exceptionally well. The shielding on BQ is really, really good. All right. The fact that the malice stacks, slug it out type things, you're doing so much damage, obviously, to 5 target AoE. You do the shielding for it. That combination is really good. And now, and Dom and I continue to talk about it in the live stream. Don't worry. I'll have a card at the end that you can go back and watch that live stream. The best 2 infantry marches you can run right now changes. It's going to be Sun Tzu, Luce, and BQ with Verci. Okay? That's the best way you can run 2 infantry right now. Because Verci with BQ runs. All right? You got the smite tree from BQ, where he's mitigating rage from the enemy. That's in synergy with Verci. All right? Verci is in drastically enhancing a big AoE damage from BQ. Verci's also doing the shielding, which is really, really good. He provides the buffing and the debuffing, which is good. And then you've got BQ just being as strong as he is, having the benefits that he has, and it just works really, really well. And so that is kind of your new, I'm not going to say like, hey, crazy meta, Verci's part of the meta, but if you're running Sun Tzu with William Wallace and BQ and Luce, guys, it's really freaking good. And if you want it just a little bit better, then you can run Sun Tzu with Luce and BQ with Verci. Okay? That's like the best you can run, but not by much. It is not worth maxing this guy. It is not worth maxing. If you're running Sun Tzu with Wallace and BQ with Luce, stick with that. Do not max this guy if that's what you're doing it for. We're going to get infantry in, 4 or 5 months? New infantry commanders. It's going to be AoE. Okay? And then that stopgap, you put Verci in there, now he's gone. He's not going to last in this game more than a handful of months or a year maybe if you're running a whole bunch of marches. Okay, though, if you are saying, Chatsky, I'm investing in him, I got to use him for a stopgap because I don't even have Philip or Hector to run with Arthur. Okay, you go get Verci. You can use him with Arthur for now. Then when you get new Cavs, all right, you can use the new Cav with Arthur, and you can put Verci with infantry, and then you can go enhance your Sun Tzu with Luce and BQ with Verci March. That's where you can find some good synergies there. All right. Another one of the situations that we found in this 5v5 was that 2 buffing commanders, no go, Daddy-O. You either use Verci or you use Philip. You don't use them both. And Philip, guys, is still really, really good. You don't have to go max Verci to replace if you're running Arthur Philip, just keep with that. All right. If you don't have Wallace and you're running Sun Tzu with BQ and you're running Luce with Philip, just keep that. You don't have to go change it. Be wise with your sculptures here. Verci's not a must-max guy. He's just not. And so from there's a little bit of a shift in the dynamic of the infantry. The best infantry pairing you can find with this guy is BQ, especially since you can put Luce behind Sun Tzu. That's great. Okay? And that's what you have for your infantry. So right now, you've got it. He might be perform a little bit better, like just barely. Like a fingernail better on the cavalry side when it comes to Hector. All right? And that just might be by coincidence and maybe even a little RNG. Okay? So you know that when you're running Arthur, you're going to get good value out of Hector. You already have good value out of Philip. In a March performance category, Hector's going to do so much better than Philip, but Philip is buffing all your other marches. We all know this. And then Vercingetorix can do maybe just a little bit better than Hector. Still not doing enough buffing to even be on par with Philip on the buffing side of things, but could do a little bit better than Hector. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'd give a slight edge to Verci. The main thing with Arthur, he's going to make Arthur last longer. He's going to make him tankier. Okay. And then Arthur's going to feed in with his combo attacks and a lot of Verci's stackable stuff that's working off of probability. All right. For the infantry, it's really pretty simple. If you already have a 2-march lineup for your infantry and you're running Sun Tzu with Wallace and you're running BQ and Luce, you don't have to do anything. Don't have to worry about anything. Stick with that. Works out exceptionally well. If you don't have Wallace, all right, and you're trying to makeshift something to where you're running Sun Tzu with BQ and Luce with Philip, and you want to put Philip somewhere else, you can turn this into a Verci situation because the best 2, again, I'll say it, the best 2 infantry marches that we're going to see collectively is going to be a Sun Tzu with Luce and then a BQ with Vercingetorix. BQ Vercingetorix does really, really well. Okay, so that's kind of your wrap on the infantry side. On the archer side of things, a lot of people always ask this, well, what about him with archers? Guys, Vercingetorix is not built for archers. Okay, mainly because his force skill is enhancing normal damage. That doesn't do anything for Arthur marches out there. Okay, now this is really, really good, but you can't really put him with Chin with this because it's looking for a high damage situation. You can't really put him with Alt because it's so RNG on if you're going to run the Benevolence or the Benevolence effect. On Alt, are you going to run the debuffing on the attack? Or are you going to run the buffing that he does? Or you're going to run the buffing of the attack? Or are you going to run the debuffing of the march speed? It's so weird. You don't want to do that. Okay, we already have like 2 true marches for archers, so you don't have to worry about that. So for Vercingetorix, not a lot of synergies with the archers. I wouldn't recommend that. And then do not, because we tested it. We tested it over here. We were looking at it. Do not run a buffing only march unless you're going to do something kind of crazy, because I put out a video saying, hey, maybe the buffing commander is back, and that's just if you're running civilized on the echelon. Okay, you've got some application there. We ran a cavalry with Joan and we used echelon. Oh my god, what are we doing? We used echelon and we ran a Joan Vercingetorix march, and it actually did really well, but I can't recommend people to do that. I cannot recommend people to go cavalry on an echelon. Like, you're not going to do that, boys. Do not do that. Okay? And so from there, no other real application. The other side of this thing that people wanted to know was about our boy Achilles with Vercingetorix. All right, we ran the test. This also got beat by the Arthur Hector, okay? When you took Gang off the field and you put Achilles, you put Vercingetorix behind Achilles, it didn't do quite as well as the 5 marches I was running. It does okay, but guys, you don't want to put Achilles with Vercingetorix, okay? You're basically guaranteeing that you can't put a combo commander behind Gang, and you have to get his healing. You have to, because you get the healing based on the secondary commander. So you got to keep Achilles with Gang if you're going to run that, or you got to put Gang behind Arthur. You could do that, okay, but you're missing out on that benefit. All right, you don't want to run Achilles with Vercingetorix. All right, Vercingetorix, it'll do fine, but it's not like meta breaking. It's not going to do anything any better on a discrepancy level than Arthur with Verci, okay? So that's what you get out of this. We tested all this stuff, all right? The real simple answer to there is a Vercingetorix with Arthur on the cavalry, is that better than Hector with Arthur? Maybe just a little bit, but not worth maxing Verci, okay? So you guys, we're all dodging a bullet with that. And then on the infantry side, if you're running a 2-march lineup, is Verci worth it? Well, he kind of is, but not worth maxing. If you already have Sun Tzu with Wallace and BQ with Luce, just stick to that until we get the new infantry. All right, if you don't have a Wallace and you're makeshifting stuff and you're wanting to move some things around and you need another command to put with Verci, okay, that's one of those things that you get into to where you want to really do well with this. All right, and so you can actually enhance your 2-march setup. If you say, okay, I'm getting Verci, Chatsky, I'm running two infantry marches, what do? You can run Sun Tzu with Luce, BQ with Vercingetorix. BQ has got the best synergies and does the best with Verci. Okay, that's one of the things you've got to understand. All right, if you're running 3 infantry, hey, yo, I mean, if you're already running Sun Tzu with Wallace, all right, you're running Sun Tzu with Wallace, you're running Philip behind BQ, you're running CPO with Luce. Yeah, I mean, Verci makes sense if you're going to go do that. So it gives you some different options on how you guys want to handle that and do that. But just wanted to put that out there for everybody, okay? In a 3-march lineup, maybe for cavalry or maybe for infantry, you can use Verci. Not a must-max commander. Very skippable for a lot of people. If you already have Hector, if you already have Philip, or if you have both of these guys, then absolutely not. Don't even jack with it. Don't mess. Wait for the new Cavs to come out. Wait for the new infantry to come out before the end of the year and go cook with that. But if you run 3 infantry, maybe you consider this. run them with BQ, go run Scipio and Luce, go run Sun Tzu with William Wallace, and go cook. That might be something I do on my second account where I run 3 infantry. Or if I'm running 3 Cavs, that might be something I consider doing on my 3 Cavs. Now, I run Attila, and that makes it kind of awkward. But I could go run a gang with Achilles. I could go run an Arthur with Verci. I go put Hector behind my Attila or Philip behind my Attila. I can do a couple of different things. So with that, wanted to give everybody's get everybody the information that we got out of that, the conclusion that we got out of that. We were able to kind of solidify where this guy's at. In Canyon, he brings a troop cap bonus, guys. That's great for Canyon. And he's replacing, you guys can see it. I am in a crazy Lost Canyon battle over here with a lot of really good players. You're starting to see something. Vercingetorix is replacing Philip on a lot of these high level marches. Okay, you see Mano. This is the old Protego account. Mano is cooking with Verci and Shajar. All right, this guy here, Verci and Shajar. Me, I'm running Verci and Shajar now. No longer Philip. The top 1 guy, Verci and Shajar. So that is some application for Canyon. All right, but like I said, unless you're like Crazy Whale or you're just got a ton of gold heads and you just want a little bit of a benefit for a short period of time, that's the only time you should go max Verci. Okay, stopgap commander. All right, if you don't have Hector or Philip, yeah, you can go max him. But if you have either one of these guys, you don't really need to. Just wait and you can roll with that. So with all that being said, hope you guys got a little bit out of that. If you would be so kind, go ahead and throw a like on here. Helps out the channel, helps out the videos. And with all that, y'all have a great day, broskies.